Have you ever smiled in front of everyone while deep inside you felt completely broken? Have you ever told someone, "I'm fine," even though your mind was fighting a battle that nobody could see? What if I told you that your emotions are not your enemy? What if the fear, anger, anxiety, guilt, jealousy, disappointment, and even the sadness you try so hard to escape are actually sending you a message? And what if learning to understand that message could completely change the way you live, work, build relationships, and chase success? Think about it for a moment. Two people lose the same opportunity. One gives up forever, while the other becomes stronger than ever before. Two people receive the same criticism. One spends months overthinking it, while the other uses it as fuel to improve. Two people experience heartbreak. One loses hope in life, while the other discovers a stronger version of themselves. The event is the same. The difference is not intelligence, it is not talent, it is not luck. The difference lies in understanding emotions. Today, we're going to explore the powerful lessons from the book Psychology of Emotion by David J. Lieberman. This is not just another motivational video. This is a book summary that explores why emotions control our decisions, how they silently shape our future, and how understanding them can help us become calmer, wiser, and emotionally stronger in every area of life. Before we begin, if you enjoy motivational book summaries that help you improve your mindset, discipline, success, and emotional intelligence, make sure to subscribe to the channel because every week we bring you life-changing ideas from some of the world's most powerful books. Now, close your eyes for just a few seconds and imagine something. You wake up tomorrow morning. Nothing outside has changed. Your job is the same, your family is the same, your bank balance is the same, your responsibilities are exactly the same. But something inside you has changed. Your fears no longer control you, your anger no longer destroys your peace, your anxiety no longer steals your sleep. Your emotions become your strength instead of your weakness. Would your life look different? Of course it would. And that journey begins today. Chapter 1. The invisible driver behind every decision. Imagine a young man standing outside a company after his final interview. He walks out with confidence because he believes everything went well. A week later, he receives an email. "We regret to inform you." His heart sinks. At that exact moment, something interesting happens. The rejection itself lasts only a few seconds, but the emotion created by that rejection begins writing a story inside his mind. I'm not good enough. I always fail. Maybe successful people are simply different. Days turn into weeks. He stops applying for new opportunities. His confidence disappears. Months later, people think he failed because he wasn't talented enough. But that isn't true. He failed because he believed the emotional story created after one painful moment. Now imagine another person receiving exactly the same rejection. He feels disappointed. He feels frustrated. Maybe he even cries that night. But after allowing himself to experience those emotions, he asks a different question. What can this teach me? Within a week, he improves his interview skills. Within a month, he applies again. Within 6 months, he gets an even better opportunity. The rejection was identical. The emotion was identical. The difference was interpretation. David J. Lieberman explains that emotions themselves are not the real problem. The real problem begins when we misunderstand what our emotions are trying to communicate. Instead of listening to them, we either become trapped by them or run away from them. Think about your own life. How many decisions have you made because of temporary emotions? Maybe you bought something expensive just because you felt empty. Maybe you ended an important relationship because of one argument. Maybe you avoided chasing your dream because fear convinced you that failure was permanent. Maybe you stayed silent when you should have spoken because anxiety whispered that people would judge you. Our emotions quietly influence thousands of decisions every year. Most people never even notice. Imagine driving a luxury car with the world's most advanced engine. Everything looks perfect, but suddenly the dashboard starts flashing a warning light. Would you smash the dashboard because you don't like seeing the warning? Of course not. You would understand that the light isn't attacking you, it is helping you. Emotions work exactly the same way. Fear may be telling you to prepare. Guilt may be reminding you that your actions don't match your values. Jealousy may reveal a dream you secretly want. Sadness may be asking you to slow down and heal. Anger may be showing that one of your personal boundaries has been crossed. Every emotion carries information. The problem is that most people react before they understand. This becomes even more dangerous in today's world. Every day, social media shows you people buying luxury cars, traveling across the world, building successful businesses, getting married, becoming famous, and celebrating achievements. Slowly, an emotion begins growing inside you: comparison. You don't even realize when admiration becomes jealousy. You don't notice when inspiration becomes self-doubt. You simply start believing that everyone else is winning while you are falling behind. But ask yourself one honest question: are you comparing your entire life with someone else's best moments? Most people are, and that comparison creates emotions that were never supposed to exist. Now imagine a young woman working hard to build her career. Every morning she checks social media before getting out of bed. Every morning she sees another success story, another promotion, another vacation, another engagement, another luxury lifestyle. Without realizing it, she starts every day feeling behind. Nothing changed in her real life, only her emotional perception changed. Eventually, she loses motivation, not because she lacks ability, because she unknowingly trained her emotions to focus on what she doesn't have instead of what she already possesses. This is why emotional awareness has become one of the most valuable skills in modern life. Success today is not just about intelligence, it's about protecting your emotional energy, because your emotions influence your focus influences your habits influence your future. Think about elite athletes. Before Olympic finals, every athlete feels nervous. The difference is that champions don't believe nervousness means weakness. They believe it means their body is preparing for something important. The emotion remains the same, its meaning changes. The same happens in business. Successful entrepreneurs feel fear before launching companies. Successful speakers feel nervous before walking on stage. Successful investors feel uncertainty before making decisions. Confidence does not mean the absence of emotion. Confidence means understanding emotion without becoming controlled by it. Perhaps this explains why some of the strongest people you admire still experience fear. They simply refuse to let fear become their identity. Now ask yourself something. How often do you say, "I am anxious"? Instead, what if you said, "I am experiencing anxiety right now"? One sentence becomes your identity, the other becomes a temporary experience. That tiny difference changes everything, because emotions are visitors. Identity is permanent only if you choose to make it permanent. Imagine standing beside a river. Leaves continue floating past you. Some are beautiful, some are damaged, some disappear within seconds. Would you jump into the river and chase every leaf? No, you simply watch them pass. Your emotions are like those leaves. They arrive, they stay, they leave. But if you grab every emotion and make it part of your identity, you create suffering that lasts much longer than the original feeling. This is why emotionally intelligent people pause before reacting, not because they don't feel, because they understand. Before speaking, they observe. Before judging, they question. Before making decisions, they recognize the emotion influencing them. That single habit has saved countless relationships, careers, and dreams. And maybe, just maybe, it could save yours too. But here's where things become even more surprising. If emotions are messages, then where do they actually come from? Why do two people experience the same situation in different ways? Why does one child grow into a confident adult while another carries invisible fears for decades? Why does one painful memory disappear while another controls an entire life? The answer lies much deeper than most people realize. It begins long before the emotion itself appears. And once you understand that hidden mechanism, you'll never look at your own mind the same way again. That is exactly where our journey continues in the next chapter.
Chapter 2. The story your mind creates before you feel anything. Imagine a little boy standing in front of his classroom. His teacher asks him to read a paragraph from a book. His hands begin to shake. His heart starts beating faster. As he reads the first sentence, he mispronounces a word. A few students laugh. It lasts only 5 seconds. The teacher corrects him. The class moves on, and by the afternoon, almost everyone has forgotten about it. Everyone except that little boy. On the way home, he isn't thinking about the paragraph anymore. He is thinking about the meaning he gave to those 5 seconds. They laughed because I'm stupid. If I speak, people will judge me. It's safer to stay quiet. Years pass. The boy grows into a man. He has good ideas. He dreams of becoming a leader. He wants to start a business. He wants to inspire people. But every time he has to speak in front of others, the same invisible fear returns. He thinks it is happening because of the audience, but it isn't. It is happening because his mind never forgot the story it created years ago. Now imagine another child in the same classroom. He also makes a mistake. People laugh. He feels embarrassed. But on the way home, his father smiles and says, "Everyone laughs when they are children. One day you'll laugh at this too." That one sentence changes everything. The same event, the same classroom, the same mistake, but a completely different emotional future. This is one of the biggest ideas you begin to understand while exploring the lessons of psychology of emotion. Events don't control your emotions nearly as much as the meaning your mind attaches to those events. Most people believe life happens in a simple order. Something happens, then you feel something, then you react. But reality is much deeper. Something happens, your mind immediately interprets it, then your emotions appear, then you react. That interpretation happens so quickly that you don't even notice it. It feels automatic. But automatic doesn't mean permanent. It can be changed. Think about rain. A farmer smiles because rain means his crops will grow. A couple planning an outdoor wedding feels stressed. A child jumps outside with excitement. A tourist becomes frustrated. The rain never changed. Only the story changed. Your emotions always follow the story. Now think about your own life. Have you ever sent someone a message and they didn't reply for hours? Maybe your mind immediately whispered, "They're ignoring me. They don't respect me. They don't care anymore." Your mood changes. Your energy disappears. Hours later, you discovered their phone battery died. Nothing was wrong. The suffering was real, but it was created by a story, not by reality. How many times has that happened? How many nights have you lost because of stories that were never true? How many friendships ended because assumptions replaced conversations? How many dreams died because fear created imaginary failures before reality even had a chance? Your brain is an incredible storyteller. The problem is that it often writes horror movies instead of documentaries. Imagine walking through a forest just before sunset. You suddenly notice a dark shape lying across the path. Your heart starts racing. You freeze. Your breathing becomes faster. Your body prepares to run. For several seconds, you believe it is a snake. Then you walk closer. It isn't a snake. It's just a rope. The interesting part is this. Your body produced real fear. Your heartbeat increased. Your muscles tightened. Your breathing changed, even though the danger never existed. Why? Because your brain believed the story. Your emotions always respond to what your mind believes is true, not necessarily what is actually true. This explains why two people can experience completely different emotional lives while living in almost identical situations. One person loses money and thinks, I'll rebuild. Another loses the same amount and thinks, my life is over. One relationship ends and someone believes, I learned something valuable. Someone else believes, no one will ever love me again. One business fails. Someone says, this was my education. Another says, I am a failure. Notice the difference. The event remains outside you. The story is created inside you, and the story creates the emotion. Maybe this is why some people become stronger after pain, while others become prisoners of it. Not because life treated them differently, because their internal storyteller gave different meanings to similar experiences. Now imagine a successful entrepreneur sitting alone late at night. Everyone sees his expensive office, his luxury car, his confidence, his success. Nobody sees the story running inside his head. What if I lose everything? What if people discover I'm not good enough? What if next year is different? This is why money cannot eliminate emotional suffering. Fame cannot eliminate emotional suffering. Success cannot eliminate emotional suffering. Because emotional pain doesn't always come from reality. It often comes from interpretation. That is why you can meet someone with very little who feels grateful every day, and someone who has everything but still feels empty. External success cannot heal an internal story. Only awareness can. Now think about relationships. A husband comes home tired after work. He speaks very little during dinner. His wife immediately begins creating a story. He doesn't love me anymore. Maybe he's angry. Maybe I did something wrong. She becomes emotionally distant. The husband notices her behavior. Now he creates his own story. She doesn't understand how hard I work. Nothing I do is enough. Without realizing it, two people stop talking because both are responding to stories instead of reality. One honest conversation could have solved everything. Instead, silent assumptions slowly build invisible walls. This happens every single day, not just in marriages, between parents and children, friends, business partners, employees, managers, everywhere. People don't just react to reality, they react to the stories inside their minds. This becomes even more dangerous in today's digital world. Algorithms don't only capture your attention, they shape your emotional stories. Imagine waking up every morning and reading negative news, economic crisis, war, layoffs, crime, arguments, failure. Slowly, your brain begins writing a conclusion. The world is dangerous. There is no hope. Nothing good ever happens. But is that reality? Or is that simply the story your mind has been repeatedly fed? Your emotional world becomes the reflection of the stories you consume every day. This is why protecting your mind is no longer optional. It is survival. Ask yourself honestly, what stories are you feeding your emotions? The story that says you're too old, too young, too poor, too late, not talented enough, not attractive enough, not smart enough?
Or are you feeding the story that every great achievement began with uncertainty? That every successful person once doubted themselves? That every champion was once invisible? That every confident speaker was once afraid to speak? The story you repeat eventually becomes the emotion you experience, and the emotion you experience repeatedly becomes your personality. That is why changing your life rarely begins with changing your circumstances. It begins with changing the conversation happening inside your own mind. Imagine carrying a backpack filled with heavy stones. Every negative belief, one stone. Every painful memory you refuse to examine, another stone. Every comparison, another stone. Every fear about the future, another stone. Eventually, the backpack becomes so heavy that even small challenges feel impossible.
Most people try to become stronger, but maybe the real solution isn't becoming stronger. Maybe it's finally removing the unnecessary stones. Think about a child learning to ride a bicycle. The child falls, gets up, falls again, laughs, keeps trying. There is no embarrassment, no identity crisis, no thought saying, "I'm not meant for this." Why? Because children haven't yet learned to create complicated emotional stories. Adults don't suffer only because they fall. They suffer because every fall becomes proof of something negative about themselves. That difference changes everything. David J. Lieberman's insights remind us that emotional freedom doesn't come from controlling every feeling. It comes from questioning the interpretations that produce those feelings. The moment you become curious about your own emotional story, instead of blindly believing it, you begin taking back control of your life. Now, imagine standing in front of a mirror, not to look at your face, but to look at your thoughts. Every belief, every fear, every assumption, every conclusion. Would everything you believe about yourself actually be true? Or have you accepted stories that were written years ago by frightened moments, careless words, painful failures, and temporary emotions? Maybe you've been living inside someone else's opinion. Maybe you've allowed one mistake to define an entire identity. Maybe you've confused a chapter with the whole book of your life. And if that's true, then perhaps your future isn't waiting for new opportunities. Perhaps it's waiting for a new story. Because the moment the story changes, your emotions begin to change. When your emotions change, your decisions begin to change. When your decisions change, your future quietly begins changing too. But there is still one question left unanswered. If our emotions are created by the stories inside our minds, why do certain memories stay alive for years while others disappear within days? Why does one painful experience fade away while another continues to influence our confidence, relationships, career, and happiness long after it is over? The answer lies hidden inside the way the human mind stores emotional memories. And once you understand that hidden process, you will finally realize why some invisible wounds never seem to heal, and more importantly, how they actually can.
Chapter 3: The Invisible Wounds That Quietly Control Your Life. Imagine a man in his 30s sitting inside a luxury car, wearing an expensive watch, running a successful company. From the outside, he looks like someone who has everything people dream about. His employees admire him, his friends respect him, his family believes he is strong enough to handle anything. But every night, before going to sleep, he feels something he cannot explain. No matter how much he achieves, he never feels good enough. Every success gives him happiness for only a few hours. Every compliment feels fake. Every mistake feels enormous. One small criticism can ruin his entire day. People think he has a confidence problem, but confidence isn't the real issue. Years earlier, when he was just a child, he had proudly shown his report card to someone he loved. Instead of hearing, "I'm proud of you," he heard, "Why didn't you score higher?" The sentence lasted less than 10 seconds. The emotional wound lasted 20 years. Now ask yourself a difficult question. How many decisions are you making today because of something that happened years ago? Maybe someone once told you that you weren't smart enough. Maybe someone laughed when you shared your dream. Maybe you trusted someone who betrayed you. Maybe you failed once in public. Maybe you lost someone you loved. The event is over, but is the emotion still living inside you? This is where David J. Lieberman takes us deeper than most people ever go. Many people spend their entire lives trying to change their habits without understanding the emotions underneath those habits. They fight the branches while ignoring the roots. Imagine seeing cracks appearing on the wall of a beautiful house. Every week you paint over them. For a few days everything looks perfect. Then the cracks return. You paint again. They return again. Eventually, you become frustrated. You blame the paint, you blame the weather, you blame your luck. But the problem was never on the surface. The foundation underneath was damaged. Our emotional lives often work the same way. We try to hide insecurity with expensive clothes. We hide loneliness with endless scrolling. We hide fear with anger. We hide sadness by staying busy. We hide rejection by pretending we don't care. The behavior changes, the wound remains. Think about a tree standing in the middle of a storm. People only notice the branches moving. Nobody sees the roots underneath the ground. Yet the roots determine whether the tree survives. Your emotions are the visible branches. Your beliefs are the hidden roots. If the roots are unhealthy, the branches will always struggle. Now imagine a young woman starting a new job. Her manager gives simple feedback. You've done well, but next time pay attention to the details. Most employees would simply improve, but she goes home feeling devastated. She spends the entire night thinking, I'm disappointing everyone. They'll probably fire me. I'm not capable. The feedback wasn't painful. It simply touched an old wound. This is why two people can hear the exact same words and experience completely different emotions. One hears advice, the other hears rejection. One hears opportunity, the other hears failure. Life is constantly speaking to us, but we hear it through the filter of our emotional history. Imagine wearing a pair of glasses with red-colored lenses since childhood. Eventually, you stop noticing the glasses. You simply believe the whole world is red. Emotional wounds work exactly like those invisible lenses. Someone with an old abandonment wound may constantly fear losing people. Someone carrying years of criticism may constantly seek perfection. Someone who experienced betrayal may struggle to trust even honest people. Someone who grew up feeling ignored may desperately seek approval from everyone. None of these reactions begin today. They are echoes from yesterday. The most dangerous part is that people often mistake these emotional patterns for their personality. I've always been like this. I'm just an anxious person. I'm naturally insecure. I'm not leadership material. I'm not good with relationships. But are you really? Or have you simply repeated the same emotional pattern for so long that it feels like your identity? Think about elephants raised in captivity. When they were very young, a strong chain is tied around one of their legs. The baby elephant pulls with all its strength, again and again, but it cannot break free. Eventually, it stops trying. Years later, that elephant becomes powerful enough to uproot entire trees. Yet a simple rope can keep it standing in one place. Not because the rope is strong, because the belief is. Many human beings live exactly like that. The chains disappeared years ago. The beliefs never did. Now think about your own life. Is there a dream you've stopped chasing because you secretly believe you're not capable? Is there someone you never spoke to because you assumed they would reject you? Is there a business you've never started because you believe failure would define you forever? Is there happiness you've never allowed yourself to feel because deep inside you don't believe you deserve it? Perhaps the rope isn't outside you anymore. Perhaps it's inside you. Here's something even more fascinating. The human brain is designed to protect you. It constantly searches for patterns. If you were hurt once in a similar situation, your brain tries to prevent it from happening again. At first, this seems helpful, but sometimes protection quietly becomes a prison. Imagine touching a hot stove. The pain teaches you to be careful. That's healthy. But imagine burning your hand once and then becoming afraid to enter any kitchen for the rest of your life. Now, protection has become limitation. This happens emotionally every day. One rejection becomes fear of relationships. One failed business becomes fear of entrepreneurship. One embarrassing speech becomes fear of public speaking. One dishonest friend becomes distrust toward everyone. The brain isn't trying to destroy your future. It believes it's protecting you. But emotional intelligence means recognizing when yesterday's protection is blocking tomorrow's opportunities. Think about famous people you admire. Many of them carried invisible emotional wounds. Some experienced repeated rejection before becoming successful. Some lost everything before rebuilding their lives. Some grew up with constant criticism. Some faced failures that would have broken most people. The difference wasn't that they never felt emotional pain. The difference was that they refused to let emotional pain become their permanent identity. Every successful life contains emotional scars, but scars and open wounds are not the same thing. A scar reminds you where you've been. An open wound controls where you can go. The question is, which one are you carrying? Now imagine meeting two brothers. Both grew up in the same difficult home. Both experienced the same struggles. Years later, one becomes bitter, the other becomes compassionate. People ask them how they became so different. The first brother says, "After everything I went through, how could I become anything else?" The second brother smiles and says, "After everything I went through, how could I let it continue controlling my life?" Same past, different decision. That decision changes an entire future. This doesn't mean healing is easy. It isn't. Real healing begins with honesty, not pretending you're fine, not hiding behind fake positivity, not forcing yourself to smile every minute. Healing begins the moment you stop running from your emotions and start listening to them with curiosity instead of fear. Imagine entering a room that has been locked for years. At first, it's dark. Dust covers everything. The air feels heavy. Your first instinct is to close the door and walk away. But if you stay, if you slowly open the windows, if you let fresh air enter, light begins to reveal what was hidden. Cleaning finally becomes possible. Your emotional life works the same way. The wounds you refuse to face quietly shape your future. The wounds you courageously understand begin to lose their power. This is why emotionally strong people are not people who never cry. They are people who refuse to lie to themselves. They don't suppress emotions. They understand them. They don't deny pain. They learn from it. They don't become victims of yesterday. They become students of it. And perhaps that's one of the greatest transformations any human being can experience. Because the moment you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and begin asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" everything starts changing. Your past no longer becomes a prison. It becomes a teacher. Your pain no longer becomes your identity. It becomes your education. Your emotions no longer become enemies. They become guides. But even after understanding your emotional wounds, another challenge still remains. Sometimes we know exactly why we feel a certain way, yet we still cannot control our reactions. Why does anger explode before logic arrives? Why does fear take over even when we know there is no real danger? Why do intelligent people still make emotional decisions they later regret? The answer lies inside the silent battle between emotion and reason, a battle happening inside your brain every single day without you even realizing it. And once you understand who usually wins that battle, you'll discover one of the most practical lessons of this entire book.
Chapter 4. The moment you stop fighting your emotions, you start winning your life. Imagine you're driving on a highway at night. Suddenly, a warning light appears on your dashboard. You have two choices. You can ignore it and keep driving until the engine breaks down. Or you can stop for a few minutes, understand the problem, and continue your journey safely. Most people treat their emotions exactly like that warning light. When they feel fear, they hide it. When they feel sadness, they distract themselves. When they feel anger, they explode. When they feel guilt, they blame someone else. But David J. Lieberman's message throughout Psychology of Emotion is surprisingly simple. Your emotions are not trying to destroy your life. They are trying to tell you something. The moment you stop fighting them and start understanding them, your entire life begins to change. Think about every successful person you admire. They still feel fear before making big decisions. They still experience disappointment when things don't go their way. They still feel uncertainty before taking a risk. The difference is not that they have fewer emotions. The difference is that they don't let those emotions make their decisions. There is a simple habit that can transform almost every emotional situation. The next time you feel overwhelmed, don't react immediately. Pause. Take one slow breath. Then ask yourself 3 questions. What am I feeling? Why am I feeling this? And what is the best decision after this emotion settles down? That short pause may only take 30 seconds, but it can save years of regret. A broken relationship, a wrong business decision, a career-ending argument, or a dream abandoned because of one emotional moment. Many of these can be avoided by learning to pause before reacting. Now imagine your life 1 year from today. You still face challenges. People still criticize you. Some plans still fail. Unexpected problems still appear. But something inside you is different. Fear no longer stops you. Anger no longer controls your words. Jealousy no longer steals your peace. Guilt no longer defines your identity. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin asking, "What is this teaching me?" That single shift changes everything, because your emotions no longer become chains, they become teachers. And once your emotions become teachers, every difficult experience becomes an opportunity to grow instead of a reason to give up. Remember this, your future will not be shaped by everything that happens to you. It will be shaped by how you choose to understand what happens to you. Your mind creates meaning. Meaning creates emotion. Emotion influences action. Action creates destiny. So if you truly want to change your destiny, don't start by changing the world around you. Start by understanding the emotional world within you. Maybe you've carried invisible wounds for years. Maybe you've believed stories that were never true. Maybe you've spent too much time trying to silence your emotions instead of listening to them. But today, that can change. Not because life suddenly becomes easier, but because you become wiser. And wisdom is not the absence of emotion. Wisdom is knowing that every emotion carries a message, but not every emotion deserves to become your master. As we reach the end of this incredible journey through Psychology of Emotion by David J. Lieberman, remember one final thought. You cannot always control what life brings to your door, but you can always learn how to respond. And sometimes, that response is the moment your entire life changes. If you found even one idea in this book summary that made you look at yourself differently, don't let it remain just another video you watched. Close this video, spend a few minutes in silence, and ask yourself one honest question. Which emotion has been controlling my life, and what is it trying to teach me? The answer to that question may become the beginning of a completely new chapter in your life. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoy in-depth motivational book summaries like this, consider subscribing so we can continue learning, growing, and transforming one powerful book at a time. Until the next summary, take care of your mind, because when you master your emotions, you begin to master your life.